Okay, so we're gonna kick things off, and all right, yeah, let's kick it off. Okay, so welcome everyone to the bi-weekly Marquez community meeting, and today we're gonna talk about a really exciting release that's coming out really soon. So that's gonna be release 0.12 of Marquez. So I'm gonna share my screen. There's a few things that I wanted to outline, so just a presentation form here. I figured I'd put together 2 slides just to organize myself. So there's been a lot of work in this upcoming release. So we're going to be releasing 0.12 this week. So some of the highlights that we can what we're going to talk in the community meeting today is just about what's coming in the release. So the first big one is we're going to be releasing Marquez 0.12 and those release notes. We're going to be adding support for Open Lineage. So that's been a pretty exciting project that is led by Julian and a number of other open source projects. So that's a way for metadata to be collected in a unified way. So really a standard on if I have a job that's running and I want to collect metadata around the inputs and outputs, we adhere to that spec. So we have now a Lineage endpoint that Danny, who's on the call, has been working pretty heavily on that allows us to start capturing metadata within that spec. So if you haven't seen the repo yet, just go to Open Lineage, and the repo is also called Open Lineage, and you could get an overview of really what the spec is trying to do, and it's all about just being able to collect lineage metadata in a unified way from different systems and trying to push a standard for that. So Marquez is an implementation, and we're excited that this release will expose that endpoint for others to test out. Is there anything in particular, Danny, that you wanted to mention about Open Lineage, or just the progress around that and some of the effort?
No, it's just been a pretty exciting release. A lot of work has been put into this. We've really burned the midnight oil to get this out. So, yeah.
That's great. The other thing that we're going to be doing is we're also looking to expose a way to list versions. So right now, you're able to capture dataset metadata, but behind the scenes, Marquez does quite a bit of versioning. So in previous community discussions, we demoed the dataset version API. So creating datasets, and if you modify the columns, or I'm sorry, the fields for the dataset, you have this versioning logic behind the scenes, and Marquez can keep track of pointers of how your dataset metadata evolves. So that's coming out. We're also working on a job version API. So it's really, those should just be standard and available in the API. So get ready for job version APIs, the API that's coming out soon. So you'll be able to retrieve, in this case, a dataset by version, but also list the versions for a dataset. The other one is GraphQL. That was recently merged in, so that's pretty exciting. We're going to have an endpoint that allows you to explore the lineage metadata that Marquez is collecting in its model in a graph way, and that's also something that Danny's been working on. So, Danny, if you wanted to talk about a little bit about that, I know you demoed it before in previous community meeting.
Yeah. So it exposes the entire logical Marquez model. And it also has like full graph-like traversals, so you can recurse into a node and recurse out of it. So it's very adaptable to whatever your use case would be. It is in a beta state, so we do plan on changing the contract of the GraphQL endpoint in future iterations, such as adding paging and more robust searching for data sets and jobs. And yeah, definitely welcome your feedback. Yeah, we can build it out based on what you guys need.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you could start getting up and running with Marquez just if you follow our quick start guide section. But you also document it here. So after you get the UI up and the backend service up, you can then start exploring the playground. So yeah, give it a try. And like you were saying, Danny, kind of looking for feedback and seeing where this goes. But naturally, this just makes so much sense to add to the Marquez project. So excited to see it and use it, which is great. Oops, we're getting lost here. Okay, there you go. So with that, there's also the Marquez Spark agent. We're actually, I think in this case, so it's the first release, but it's a bit outdated. But we're gonna make sure that everything's synced. So one thing before I go into this, just around Marquez repo, it's all a single repo now. So we have JVM modules and Python modules. So when I put these release notes together, that wasn't a thing. So now we have a unified release process for all of our JVM modules, which is great, and just control through Gradle. So with that, it allows us to do this Marquez Spark agent release. And Danny, if you want to also talk a little bit about this. So yeah, you've been pretty busy over the past 2 weeks. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the Spark agent is a JVM agent that you can attach to your Spark jobs in order to emit open lineage data directly to Marquez. It exposes a number of facets in order to collect extra data, and we're working on expanding those facets more to collect more use cases. Currently, it will be able to pull HDFS data sets and like Google Cloud data sets and a couple other ones that are like common use cases, but we're definitely looking to expand it. So to get started with the Spark agent, you can just take a look at the Spark agent README. We have a nice, helpful, easy thing to do to put into your Airflow if you wanted to use Spark with Airflow. You can use the Spark agent independently of Airflow. All you have to do is pass in the JVM settings for a particular URL and just construct the URL based on your needs. But yeah, this is a good first step to integrating with some more of the major tools out there. And this is the first implementation of Open Lineage, which is pretty exciting. The Open Lineage spec is very simple to understand, and it was very easy to write this type of integration once all of the JVM integration nuances were worked out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, really, really amazing work. And I think this is just one step towards having the integrations for Marquez use Open Lineage. So this is just a great example that we can kind of build off of. And really behind the scenes, we, in particular, Danny has been making sure that the Open Lineage event that comes in also populates the Marquez core model. So really mapping the two, which is could be a bit difficult, where you have Open Lineage, which is a bit flexible, and map to the Marquez model, which is a bit more opinionated and allow you to really precisely query your metadata. The one thing I'll note, thanks Danny, yeah, this is great. Thanks for putting the README together. The one thing I'll note here is that it's under experimental, but before we do a release, we're gonna move it and promote it as a top level project. So you'll see the integrations right now. We have Airflow. So if you wanna get up and running with Airflow, totally do that and couple it with Spark. So there's some details on how to get started here, but we're going to be promoting that to a top level project, and then cut the release. Yeah. So what else did I think that was about it. I think these were pretty key highlights. There's other things I'm missing, like bug fixes and so forth, but that was the big one. So no web UI updates. I know there's a few bugs here and there, but don't worry, that's going to be a priority for us pretty soon. And we're also looking for members of the community to also come in, and if you see a bug, we'll definitely look at the PR and be happy to approve it and merge it in. So with that really covers most of what I wanted to go over. It was just kind of putting focus on what's coming in the release. And I know, Daniel, you're also on a call, so this is also an opportunity for us just to have open conversation. So that was the big agenda. Normally we'd have some demos, but in this case, we just talked about the release. But it's also open forum at this point, so we could talk about any parts of that any features that are coming in the release, or just questions about Marquez, or just metadata in general, we're happy to chat about it.
Thanks. No, I think I'll look into the Spark agent now. I'm curious. Like I've never touched it. I understand like in general lines what Marquez does, but I'd like to see it with my own eyes and better understand what can we do with it.
No, absolutely, yeah. We're also on Slack, so if you haven't joined our Slack channel, so as you go through it and you have questions, Danny has been a big contributor to that, right? So you could ping him and or just in general the channel. We'll make sure we'll get back to you with questions. But yeah, that'd be amazing. Go through the code and let us know what you think.
Sure, appreciate it.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, if those were all the questions, I think it's a bit short community meeting, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't impactful because we talked about a lot of really good progress that we've been making. So with that, I think we could end it. And Daniel, thanks again for joining. Yeah, it was great. Always great to see a new face. And yeah, let us know what you think as you try out the Spark agent.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so absolutely. All right. See you guys.